This webinar is the first in a series of 4 about PubMed. It's designed to give you a tour and introduction to PubMed features. PubMed is a free online tool provided by the National Library of Medicine, also known as the NLM. NLM is one of the National Institutes of Health, and it's funded by U.S. tax dollars. PubMed is one of the largest and most comprehensive databases of biomedical literature in the world, and we're here to show you how it works. Let's look at our agenda. We'll start with an introduction to the PubMed database, what it is and what's in it. Then we'll explore PubMed features together and discover how to accomplish some of the most common PubMed tasks. Finally, we'll look at how to get help and some additional training resources. At the end of today's session, you'll get a link to the evaluation, and I'll provide more information about claiming continuing education credit from the Medical Library Association, if you're interested in that. So now, let's talk about PubMed. What is in PubMed? PubMed is the National Library of Medicine's free authoritative database of more than 38 million citations for articles in the fields of biomedicine and health, with a specific focus on collecting original scientific research. It's used by over 3 million unique users every day, including clinicians, researchers, students, librarians, and more. There's a lot of ways you can use PubMed. You can use it to find a specific research article based on some known information you might have. You can use PubMed to find articles written by a particular author, and you can use PubMed to familiarize yourself with a topic. Because of its vast scope, you can also take a deep dive into a wide variety of topics. PubMed even has patient education handouts, and we'll look at how to find those later in our time together today. So users frequently ask, does PubMed have full-text articles? PubMed is a database of citations, not a database of full-text articles. Nearly 75% of PubMed citations include links to full text, and if you look at articles published in just the last 10 years, nearly 95% provide full-text links. But there's a difference between full-text and free full-text. Some links may take you to a publisher's site, which may require a subscription or one-time fee. When a publisher provides free full-text access, that link will be included in PubMed. And when available, PubMed includes links to full-text from PubMed Central, also known as PMC. PubMed Central is NLM's free full-text repository. It was created in response to the NIH public access policy, which was adopted by the United States Congress in 2009. And that public access policy says that any publications coming out of research supported by an NIH grant must be available to the public for free. So I have a question for you, and you can just answer in chat. If someone asked you if PubMed was a database of free full-text articles, what would you say? Yes or no? If someone asked you if PubMed was a database of free full-text articles, what would you say? Yes or no? And you can let me know in chat. I'm seeing some no's. I'm seeing some yes with caveats. More no's. More no's. The answer that we teach in this class is no. PubMed is a database of citations to articles because full text in PubMed is not always available or free. Dana is sharing a link to a fact sheet in chat, and that talks about the relationship between PubMed and PubMed Central, and that's also on your handout. Now let's talk about how to use PubMed and some of the built-in features. One of the most common ways PubMed is used is to locate a specific article based on some known information you have about the article. So say you come across a story like this one on the slide. This is a 2019 story from National Public Radio reporting on research that shows that the common treatment for asthma may not be as effective as previously believed. Now, the online version of this article had a convenient link back to the original research, but that's not always the case. You might see an article listed in the reference section of a paper or hear about research on the news or social media. So let's see if we can track this article down. So what do we know about this article, about this original research article referenced in this news story? We've highlighted some clues on the slide. We know it was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. We know that it's a news story from 2019, so it's probably an article published in 2019. And the lead author is Stephen Lazarus, a pulmonologist at the University of California, San Francisco. And really, this little bit of information should be enough for us to find the article very easily in PubMed. So let's go into PubMed and see what we find. I'm going to hop over to pubmed.gov now, and Dana should have a link in the chat for you. Thank you. If you can, open up another browser and work along with me, or you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So one of the key design features of PubMed are the sensors that are built into the search box. And that's sensors with an S. PubMed search sensors analyze your search terms and try to detect exactly what you're looking for. If we enter the information we have, which in this case is the author's last name, the journal abbreviation, and the year, PubMed's citation sensor should detect that we entered some basic information and will help us find the article that we're looking for. So if you're following along, go ahead and type Lazarus NEJM 2019 into the PubMed search box and click search. Dana's shared that phrase in the chat if it's easier for you to copy and paste if you're following along. This is search example A on your handout. So we've typed in those 3 terms, going to click search. And now we're looking at the search results page, which here at PubMed we call the summary view. Notice towards the top, we have a blue alert bar, 3 articles found by citation matching. PubMed citation sensor uses a matching algorithm to find citations that might be a match for the article we're looking for. In this case, PubMed thinks that one of these top 3 articles, which we see right here, might be a match. We see that the third article has all 3 pieces of information that we put into the search box: the author's name, the journal, and it's from 2019. PubMed also runs our search normally, if you will, and gives us an alternative set of search results just in case we're trying to find something else that's not one of these 3 top articles. We'll look at the rest of what's going on here in the search results in a bit, but for now, I'm going to click on that third result from our example to look at a citation in more detail. So now we're in what PubMed calls an abstract view of our article. We have some basic information on the top, and when you hover your mouse over that journal title abbreviation, the full title displays. We also see the date, the volume, the issue number, the page numbers. And then to the left of the journal article, we have a tag that indicates the type of article that this is. In this case, the article reports on a randomized control trial. PubMed highlights commonly looked for publication types to the left like this, so you might in other search results see something like clinical trial or case report. And this is the tag that tells you what publication type the article is. Below that, in larger font, we have the title of the article, and then a very long list of articles or authors. Further over to the right, we have links to the full text. If you're using a smaller screen or a mobile device, like a phone, the links to the full text will appear directly below this title information. And then notice here that we have two full text links. The first has a link to the publisher's website. It also has a link to a free copy of the article in PubMed Central. And sometimes you might see another icon, your library's icon, if your library participates in library link out using outside tools, and that would appear below these other full text links. Further on in the abstract, we have that author information. We can click to expand the author information by using the plus sign next to expand. This list can be very long and have hundreds of authors, and if you scroll down further, you can see there are many authors and collaborators on this article. You can collapse those collaborators by clicking the plus sign. You can also see an author's affiliation by clicking on the number next to an author name, and that will show you all the affiliations for the authors in the paper. And then finally, below all of that author and affiliation information, you have a string of numbers here, the PMID, or PubMed identifier. The PubMed identifier is a unique number, and every citation in PubMed has one. This is also the answer to number 1 on your handout, if you're following along. What is the unique number for a PubMed citation called? And that is called the PubMed identifier, or PMID. Now, if you have a PMID, you can always find the citation by typing the number into the search box and clicking search. You don't need to include those 4 letters PMID either, just the string of numbers. You can also enter multiple PMIDs at the same time and separate them with a space. And I'll give you an idea of what that looks like with a short example. So I have a string of numbers here, this first article that we're looking at, and then 2 more. And I can simply paste those PMIDs into the search box and click search. And that will give me 3 unique articles based on that PMID number. And here's that one that we were just looking at. So the PMID can be a really useful way to quickly pull up a citation if you have the number copied. Below that PMID, we have the abstract, and that tells you what the article is about. Most articles in PubMed have an abstract, but not all of them. This abstract, as well as is provided by the publisher. PubMed always displays what the publisher provides for the abstract, and if the publisher doesn't provide an abstract, PubMed does not create one. So just things to know. Now notice on the right, we have an area called page navigation. And this is an easy way to jump to different sections of this page. So let me explore a couple of these. I'm going to click on similar articles. It's a popular feature here. Similar articles is a list generated by an algorithm based on the terms from the abstract title and medical subject headings of the article that you're looking at. And it's designed to bring in other PubMed citations that are similar to the one you're looking at. Now, by default, they will give you 5 articles that are similar, but you can see all similar articles by clicking this link. We have a link for you about how PubMed identifies similar articles, which is also on your handout that we're sharing in chat right now. I'm going to continue further down this abstract page to show you cited by. There might also be a list of articles that cite the article that you're looking at. Now, keep in mind, this is not a comprehensive list of every single article that has cited your journal article. Cited by is generated using data submitted by publishers and from NCBI resources. And so it may not be a complete list of works citing a particular item. So we've looked at two sections on this abstract page, the cited by and the similar articles. There's a lot of other pieces in the page navigation. I'm curious what other interesting things you see here in this page navigation in the abstract view. Let me know in the search box what you think is interesting. Ah, yes, the mesh terms, the medical subject heading terms. Yes, those are listed here, and these are ways that the article is indexed in PubMed, different subject headings that are used to index this article. Related information and associated data are two more. Associated data will take you to related clinical trials related to the research, and then related information can take you to other NCBI resources that mention these things. We also have grants and funding. And I noticed that someone said figures. And yes, that's another interesting thing. You can immediately hop to any figures shared in there. So I'm going to be covering many of these things that we see in this page navigation as we learn together today. But for now, I'm going to pause a moment and see if you have any questions. Dana, do we have any questions so far?
Hey, Molly, we do have one question, and it is there a list of what publication types are tagged?
Yes, there is a list of publication types, and we will be exploring that further. It's actually a filter in your search results for different publication types, and I believe that we can share a link to PubMed Help that has a list of all of the different publication types as well. And so let us work on that in the background and see if we can dig that up for you. We will be looking at the different publication types and how to filter them in probably about 20 minutes.
And that was the only question so far.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to click back on this PubMed logo right here on the top left, and that's going to take me back to a fresh PubMed homepage. That's always a way back. Wherever you see this PubMed icon, that you can click on it, it will take you to a clean search box. And we'll explore some of the other features that we saw in that abstract view real soon. First, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about author searching. One of the most frequent tasks in PubMed that users do is to try to find all publications by a specific author. And searching by author can be tricky in PubMed, or really any database, because multiple authors might have the same name. Like there's over 1,300 MNAPs in PubMed, or you might have one author publishing under different names, depending on the course of their career. Now, there's a few techniques we can use to help find articles by the author that we're looking for. The most effective way to search is to use an author's last name and initials. You can use up to 2 initials in PubMed, but using only the author's first initial will run the most comprehensive search. And there's no need to tag or capitalize or punctuate the author name. You just enter the last name, then a space, then the initial. So for example, if you're looking for articles by Stephen Lazarus, the author from our earlier example, who's the pulmonologist from the University of California, you would enter their last name, space, first initial. And we recommend this format instead of using the author's full name, even if you know it, because not all PubMed records include full author names. And in fact, PubMed only began accepting full author names in 2002. And also, not all publishers supply the full name of an author when they're submitting their information. So searching a full author name might cause you to miss some results. If this is all making your head spin, we go into greater detail about author searching in our How PubMed Works automatic term mapping session coming up next week. So if you want to learn more about the how author searching works in depth, join us for that. For now, though, we're going to just take that easy, most recommended way. This is search example B on your handout, and that's just the author's last name with a space and the first initial. So we have Lazarus S. And then I'm going to click search. So we searched an author's name, we get a bunch of search results. And as you can see in the results, we have a number of articles with the last name highlighted, a lot of Lazarus S, and some are not highlighted at all. Like, for example, this one, perhaps Lazarus S is part of the Spiromics research group. You would go in and expand that affiliation to see. Now, interestingly enough, my search results, I'm going to change my sort menu. So notice this subheading right here. I'm looking for Lazarus SC because that was the author in our example. And what I'm going to do is switch my filter from journal because it's for some reason it's sorting reverse by the journal name. I'm going to change that back to the default, which is best match. I get an alert right here and it tells me that they've sorted it by best match. Okay, thank you. All right. So I'm looking at this article, Association of Inhaled Corticosteroids, and it's the second. And what I want to do is see if this Stephen Lazarus SC is the same as the author from our original. And here we are back at the abstract view. Underneath the title, we have the list of authors. And here we have Stephen C. Lazarus. Yep, sounds like that's probably the author. But where can I look to find out the author's affiliation from this page? If you want to answer me in chat, where would I find the affiliation for these authors on this page? What could I click? What could I hover on? The superscript above the name. That is correct. Yes, we can look there, and that will expand and then show me with a nice alert that this is indeed a Dr. Lazarus from the University of California, San Francisco. Great job. Okay. So I showed you all that because I want to show you another feature that we have in PubMed. From here on this abstract page, we can easily find more citations by our authors. PubMed has a feature we can use called computed author sort, and it's very easy to use. While you're in an abstract view of an article, you simply click on the author's name. In this case, I'm going to click on Stephen Lazarus. And what's going to happen is a new list of results pops up, 182, and it tells me in an alert that results are displayed in computed author sort order. So what is computed author sort? Because an author may have the same name as other authors, the objective of this feature is to display additional relevant results by an author. So when you click on an author's name from within that abstract view of a citation, the author name disambiguation process kicks in and compares citations with the same author name. And it also looks at the similarity of the co-authors, journal titles, article titles, words in the abstract, mesh terms, grants, publication dates. Um, and then it puts all that information together and generates a list of results of articles that are most likely to be by your author showing up at the top. So the best practice for trying to find a fairly comprehensive list of all articles by your author is to pull up any PubMed citation in that abstract view that you believe is by your author. And then all you have to do is simply click on a name and it will give you that computed author sort order of articles that PubMed believes to be by the same author. So we're going to share a link in chat with more information about the algorithm behind computed author sort, if you'd like to know more. And little knowledge check here. If you're following along in the handout, question number 2 asks, which PubMed view do you need to be in to get to that computed author sort message? Do I need to look at the summary view, the abstract view, the PMID? Which PubMed view should I be in if I want to make that computed author sort work? Let me know in chat. All right, Joy's got it. The answer is no, the answer to number 2 is abstract. You can pull up any PubMed citation in the abstract view and click on an author's name to see articles most likely to be by that author. Okay, Dana, is there anything we need to address in the chat box?
Yes, there is. Can you use the ORCID ID of the author to search for authors? And is PubMed linked to ORCID or ORCID ID?
I believe there may be a way to search and do an advanced search using ORCID to find authors. What we can do is uh, try to pull up some PubMed help information on that. I do believe that there is an advanced search. I think you can.
Molly,
Yes,
it's
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Hi.
Yeah, so there is. You can search by an ORCID ID if you go into advanced search, like Molly was just saying. Um, go there if you would. And instead of all fields, it's author ID. Author identifier, sorry, author identifier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have one handy.
Yeah.
If somebody in the audience here does have one, so you would just plop it in there. Now PubMed does not link to ORCID.
Yeah.
The ORCIDs would come from a publisher
Publisher. Mm-hmm.
if an author has included that when they submit their article to the publisher, and then it's not a guarantee that the publisher submits that to NLM, but there's probably a
Mm-hmm.
good chance of that. So that's going to be a hit and miss way
Mm-hmm.
to find an author.
It can be done. Your mileage may vary. Thanks, Rebecca. Okay. Oh, and thanks. Dan has also shared more information about those publication type filters if you're interested. Any other, did I get all the questions?
Yes.
Great. All right. So we looked at 2 ways to search for, well, 3 ways actually, to search for authors, thanks to our great questions. So 2 ways to search for authors: by last name and first initial. Second way to search for author, using that computed author sort from any abstract view of a known article by a specific author. And then we also talked about using this author identifier to search by ORCID. Like I said, your mileage may vary, but you could use that advanced search author identifier to try to do that. So let's go back to that PubMed homepage, that clean slate. I'm going to click on the PubMed icon on the advanced page. It's on the left, on the right-hand side, just to get back to a clean PubMed homepage. We're going to switch gears. We're going to switch gears now and talk a little bit about keyword searching, which is another common use case for PubMed. So maybe you're researching a topic that you don't know much about and you want to familiarize yourself with it. Or maybe you're doing a deep dive into a particular subject. And either way, PubMed has several features that make it easy for you to just type what you're looking for into the search box and retrieve relevant results. Now, one of the features that does this is called Best Match Sort Order, and it's the default sort order in PubMed. And you might be like, why is best match the default sort? Why isn't it like publication date or some other way? Well, based on PubMed analytics and our usage statistics, the only overwhelming majority of PubMed users only look at the first few results of their search and rarely go past that first page. And that holds true for, search engines too. So a main goal of PubMed development is to make sure the best and most relevant results show up right at the top on that top page. And so we call this the best match sort order, and it's a machine learning algorithm, and it places the most relevant citations based on your search terms at the top of your results. And that's also the answer to number 3 on your handout. Best match is an algorithm that matches your search terms to the PubMed records in your results based on article titles, subject terms, and abstract, and then displays them by rank with the most relevant results on top. So let me show you an example of this in action. And this is example C on your handout, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to. I'm going to search for caregiver burden Alzheimer's. Notice on the top right, or notice here in our search results page and our sort by filter, we have sorted by best match. That's the default. And notice here that the first 2 articles were published in 2022. And we have about 1,793 results. What I'm going to do is change my sort order to most recent. Notice now that the top 2 results by most recent are from 2025, but we still have that same number of search results. I'm showing you this so that you know that when you search PubMed, your results are going to default in best match so that you get the most relevant results on top. But it's just sorting your results. It's not changing your results. So I will still have the same number and the same pieces of the same citations, just sorted differently depending on how I sort. I go by most recent date, or I can even sort by first author or journal, which are also useful ways depending on what you're trying to do. But best match is the default sort order. And that's why it appears that way, to get those most relevant results of your keywords on that first page to save you time. And I just want you to know that best match, like any of these sort features, it just sorts your results. It's not searching for a different set of results. It's all the same. It's just sorted differently. And we're sharing a link in chat that explains this algorithm, best match. It's also on your handout. And the bottom line is, regardless of which sort order you apply, you're working with that same set of results from your search. So in addition, the development of PubMed has focused on taking simple keyword searches and translating them into more elaborate, comprehensive searches. PubMed calls that automatic term mapping. I'm going to go back to a fresh search page using that PubMed logo to give you a taste of what automatic term mapping does. It's a built-in tool designed to enable you to do a broad search and then refine your results using filters. So first, let's do a search for acid reflux. And Dana has that in chat if you need. if you need it. So we're going to do a search for acid reflux, no question marks, no tags. I don't even need to know what the proper scientific name is for acid reflux. I just put in the 2 words and click search. And that basic search gave us a whole bunch of results, over 44,000 results. Now, in the center of the page, we have our list of results in the summary view, and that's going to include some key information for each article, such as the article title, the authors, the journal information, that PMID, and a little abstract snippet. Now, notice that our search terms are bolded in our results, and then there's some terms bolded that are not our search terms in the results. And we'll get to why that is in a minute. But first, I want to point out all the different ways you can repurpose and share these search results. So each citation in PubMed has a Cite button, which allows you to grab a properly formatted citation in several different citation formats. You can copy and paste or download the citation to your computer to import it into other software. And notice how it's downloading a .nbib file. That nbib file refers to a PubMed bibliographic citation information file. And that is what you would upload into a citation management software. You can change the citation format on the far right. We have the American Medical Association, American Psychological Association, Modern Language Association, and then National Library of Medicine also has their own citation format. And so you can change that format here. Below the Cite button, for each citation, we have a Share button, and that provides a permanent link back to this citation. And you can easily copy and paste this into whatever you need to. There's also some options to share on social media. That's the Cite and the Share buttons that are available on the search results page. At the top of your search results, you have a few other ways to save or repurpose. You can use the Save feature to save citations to your computer. You can select certain articles if you want and click Save. Then you'll get an option to save all citations. You can also save all results on the page or all results. And keep in mind that when you are saving all results, it might produce very large files. So just know that. You can also change what format you might want those citations saved in. If you want to have the abstract, if you just want those PMID numbers, or if you just want the simple citation information, you can change those formats. Create the file, it will download it to your computer, you can do what you want with it. That's the Save feature in PubMed. You can also email. Very much the same as Save. You have the option to email everything on the page, all the results in your search, or just selected articles. Subject lines for PubMed search results are not customizable. The email will be sent with the search terms used and the subject PubMed in the subject. So, but you can share those to and from certain people, and you have to prove that you're a human. I wanted to point out that you can also sort your results by a variety of different ways that we've looked at before, depending on your need. Let's go ahead and cancel that. So we looked at Cite and Share, Save and Email. Send to is another option. This is a way to send to your clipboard, My Bibliography, Collections, and Citation Manager. So those are a few other ways that you can export your results different ways. Finally, under the search box at the very top of the screen, we have the option here to create an alert. Creating an alert allows you to save your search to your My NCBI account. When you create an alert, it asks you to log into your My NCBI account. If you do that, you can set up automatic emails when new search results are available or on whatever schedule you choose. Now, to use this feature, you need to either log into My NCBI or create a free account. It's very easy to get a free account. You can create an account through multiple other options. You may even want to check and see if you're affiliated with a university, if it already has it set up, and you can set up a My NCBI account that way. We're going to share a link in chat with more information about saving and managing searches in My NCBI, and that's also on your handout if you'd like to look over that later. For now, I'm just going to go back to my acid reflux search, and create alert will always appear once you do a search. You can log into My NCBI to save that. Also of note is you can create an RSS feed for your search results and repurpose that however you'd like. That's another option. So to review, there's at least 5 ways to repurpose your results on PubMed, and the ones that we looked at today are cite, share, save, email, and create alert. And that is also the answer to number 4 on your handout. So just know if you're doing your PubMed searches, you can cite individual articles, share individual articles, you can email individual and groups of articles or save them to your computer. You can also send them to citation managers, and you can set up saved alerts or RSS feeds. So we have a very large number of search results here for acid reflux. I'd like to talk a little bit about how to narrow these search results to a more specific subset. We have a nice big number here, but unless you're doing a very thorough literature review, you'll probably want a smaller number of search results. So the filters on the left side of PubMed are an effective way to filter your results, limit your results, decrease your results. And I'm just going to go through what some of these filters do here on the right. The first thing that we have here is our ways to limit by dates. This results by year graph provides a nice way to visualize trends in research because you can see when publications on a particular topic increase or decrease over time. I've expanded this graph using the expand collapse timeline feature. You can drag and drop. You can drag the dates to limit your search this way. And it will then limit. Can reset my search to get everything back, and you can shrink that results by year using this little diagonal arrow box here. Also interesting, you can download these results by year. Just keep in mind that this is not going to give you the actual citations. It just gives you the numerical counts by year of articles published with that keyword. But if you're interested in that, you can download a CSV of it. Now, publication date is another filter option. People like to limit 1 year, 5, 10 years, and you can also do a custom range of your choosing using that publication date filter. Oh. Next, we have text availability. By selecting one of these options, you can restrict your search to results that only have links to free full text or only have abstracts. And below that, we have the associated data article attribute filter, and that limits results to articles that link to more data, such as through clinicaltrials.gov or other NLM resources. Now, the article type filter restricts your results to specific article types. Some of these, like clinical trial and randomized controlled trial, are study designs, and they can help you find specific types of research articles. This is a customizable filter. We have a lot more article types available. We're just looking at the default right now, but you can see all article types by clicking on that link, and you get a lot of other options. There's quite a few more filters. If you don't see what you want in the default, you can view more by clicking on additional filters. And here we get language filters. There's over 80 languages available to filter by in PubMed, as well as some other options here. So to put these filters in action, let's say I wanted to find patient education articles on acid reflux in Spanish. So as I mentioned, patient education handout is public. There's lots of different publication types in PubMed, and patient education handouts is one of them. If I click on See All Article Types, I can then browse and select various ones. I'm just going to select patient education handout and apply. And now I have 28 results, but I also want them in Spanish, so I'm going to look at those additional filters and limit to just Spanish articles. And now we can see that using just those two filters, I now have 4 results out of an initial 44,000. You can clear filters at the top of the page. These filters are sticky, which means that it will continue to have these filters applied until you clear them, but you'll always get a green alert at the top of the screen telling you that some filters have been applied to your search until you clear them. So let me go ahead and clear these results. You can also clear your filters on the menu for filters over here. Okay, so I'm going to pause a moment to see what questions we have. Dana?
Yeah, Molly, we have a few questions. And since we're on the topic, I'll start with our last question first. Can you use Boolean operators, truncation, and wildcards to limit your results?
Yes, all of those you can use. You can use them in the search box. You can also use them in the advanced search. They have a query box where you can build those. One thing to note is depending on how you're using things like truncation, wildcards, you may turn off that automatic term mapping that we were talking about. So some caveats apply, but yes, you certainly can use all of those options.
Great. And the second question is sharing results. So one of our participants asked, what's the best way to share results along with the search history?
Well, it's kind of a two-step process because you certainly can share your results, and when you share your results, especially if you're emailing results, it's going to include your search terms. So in this case, it would just include acid reflux as well as the word PubMed. So it will tell. So if you had if you had some type of other complicated search in the search box, it would add that to your subject line. So you would get that. The most effective way to kind of capture your search history and how you search, though, is going to be in your history and search details. And we're going to look at this in a little more detail in just a moment. But notice that I can download a CSV file of my history and search results, and that is the most effective way to capture exactly what you did with your search.
All right, and going back a little bit further in the presentation, can you discuss what the difference between most recent and publication date is in the results sort options?
Yes. Most recent are this is going to sort your results by what was most recently added to PubMed. Publication date is going to sort your results by the official publication date as entered into this citation information. So so this will vary. So you might have like things that are most recent that are not that are in the database but are not completely indexed. Versus the publication date, it's going to sort by what was printed in the publication data. So, okay, does that let us know if that answers your question?
Just two more questions for you,
Okay.
Molly. So the next one is in reference to using the cite feature, and they wanted to know how reliable that feature is. Like,
Oh,
can we
that
can we feel confident in the results that we're getting for each format?
yeah, I mean these are I don't have I don't have a specific answer for you, but we can definitely find out. Uh Rebecca, do you have any thoughts on this?
I don't. I don't know how those are
Yeah.
generated. I'm sure it's not by a human. There are no humans
Mhm.
at NLM formatting citations. So
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that too, because it also, PubMed relies heavily on what is submitted by the publisher. All of this citation information is submitted by a publisher. PubMed does not go in and create these. So if an inconsistency is noticed, then often, if not always, it originates from the publisher submission process and possibly the author.
And I've got one more question, but just before I get to that, would you mind for someone revisiting how to get to the search history?
Sure. The search history is in the advanced search area. So if you click on advanced underneath the search box and scroll down, you'll get to your history and search details, and that's where you can download your search history. And that CSV file is just going to give you um, the terms that you searched and the numbers of results, but I'm I cannot remember if it links to the results or not, but you definitely get the search terms.
All right, thank you for that. And our final question is, can you link PubMed to a reference manager like you can in Google Scholar, such that when you download the citation and open it, it automatically opens in your reference manager?
That is a little specific. I don't know the answer off the top of my head. I be- your best course of action would be to go to your preferred reference manager software and on their help search PubMed to see if they have specific directions on how to integrate the two.
And that's it for now, Molly. Thanks.
Thanks. Okay. Great questions, and please keep those coming. Now, I would like to dig a little deeper into our advanced search builder and history. I just clicked back to a fresh PubMed page again because I wanted to show you that even on PubMed.gov, even on the home page, you have a link to the advanced search, and I'm going to click on that now so we can kind of dig into what's available in here. We've looked at a couple of features already. So you can find advanced search linked underneath any search box on any PubMed page. The advanced search builder allows you to search specific fields of a record, and it also allows you to build more complex searches. So let me give you an example of how you can use the advanced search builder to find articles from a specific journal. And you can do this even if you don't know a journal's exact name. This right here we call the field selector, and we looked at it for that author identifier when we were talking about ORCID earlier. But you can also select journal and then start typing a journal's name. So say I wanted to find all articles in New England Journal of Medicine. As I start typing just New England, it starts giving me suggestions of what journal I'm looking for. And you can see here that New England Journal of Medicine is actually the New England Journal of Medicine. Yes, that is the journal that I want. So I'm going to select that. Um, this is example E on your handout if you're following along. So basically I selected journal from this field selector menu, and then I typed in New England, and the prompt for the New England Journal of Medicine came up, so I chose that. Now from here I can run my search, or I can also just add it to my search history, or I can start building a more complex search in the query box. Right now I'm just going to add this journal, and it's going to add that to the query box, New England Journal of Medicine journal. Now from here, I can get the search results, or I can add it to my history. I'm going to add it to my search history for now, and that tells me that there's a little over 86,000 articles from New England Journal of Medicine. Um, and that's nice if you're trying to build a more complex search. You can add items one at a time and then combine them using the action menu, and that will add it back to the query box. And this is where you can start using Boolean operators like and, or not to build search queries. A little bit more about the PubMed history and search details. As we've already discussed, this keeps track of all the searches that you've run, and it lets you jump back to the results of those searches. Important to note is this history is retained for 8 hours of inactivity. So if you want to keep track of your PubMed history longer than 8 hours, you'll need to use the download feature. Now, as I mentioned, you can combine previous searches using under the Actions 3 dots menu. You can combine previous searches together. So if I wanted to add my acid reflux search to New England Journal of Medicine, all I have to do is select from this menu, and then it puts it up here into the query box. And again, I'm going to select add to history. I could do a full search if I wanted to and get the search results, but I'm just going to add it to the history, and that tells me just number of results, so I don't have to go and look at a whole bunch of search results if I'm not interested in doing that yet. Okay, so I also wanted to explain this details chevron menu right here, because search details shows you how PubMed interpreted your search. So if you're following along, go to that search history table and find your search for acid reflux, and click your search details, click the chevron next to that term. And what that will do is show you what terms PubMed is also searching for when you entered in acid reflux. So in this example, you can see that we typed in the term acid reflux, and PubMed behind the scenes mapped our phrase to the medical subject heading gastroesophageal reflux, as well as some other terms. What that means, and what this means to show you, is that even if we don't know the medical term for acid reflux, PubMed knows and can map those keywords to an official medical subject heading if one exists. So PubMed searches for citations that has the medical subject heading as well as our original term. And that's why in our search results, we saw those terms gastroesophageal reflux bolded in our results, even though we searched the term acid reflux. Um, all of this happens due to automatic term mapping. So I have something for you to try, and a question for you. What I'd like you to do is search the term nosebleed, and that's example F on your handout. Search the term nosebleed and see if you can figure out what that term maps to. What is the official medical subject heading for nosebleed? And if you already know it, good job, you're very smart. But for the rest of us, try searching nosebleed and let me know in chat what is the medical subject heading. And you can figure that out if you go to the history. Oh, Chris Johnson got it first. Epistaxis. Nosebleed maps to epistaxis. Um, so I asked you to do that because when you think about how PubMed works, know that your search terms are examined using the PubMed feature automatic term mapping. And the search details in advanced search will show you what PubMed searched for in addition to your keywords. The search details here in the search history can really help a lot to explain what PubMed is doing if you're getting interesting results when you're doing a keyword search. And just for fun, I'm going to go back to the PubMed home screen. I'm going to type in the term nosebleed. And to find, there's a couple of ways that I can see, okay, what is PubMed mapping to? Everything bolded, so epistaxis right here tells me that's one of the automatic term mapping terms it nosebleed map to. And if I go to advanced, go down to that history and search details and expand the details, it will tell me that PubMed searched the word nosebleed. It also mapped to the medical subject heading epistaxis. So I am going to pause another time to just see what other questions may have come in. Dana?
We had one question come in that was answered with a link. The question was, in advanced search details, does all fields encompass keyword searching effectively? And we have a link in the chat that will help answer that question.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
This is Rebecca. Can I add something to that since
Yeah.
I put the link in? Also, automatic term mapping, just putting your keyword terms into the search box is an effective way to do keyword searching.
Yeah.
Look for your untagged term. You're just putting acid reflux in there. It's not tagged. It's a keyword. It's not the real mesh term. And PubMed will look for that. It will map it to whatever that term was, gastroesophageal reflux, plus other stuff, and potentially. So, or you could go to that, use the all fields. So, but they're not exactly the same. So
They're
you can
not. Yeah, they're not.
compare your results, but
Yeah. Yeah, the best way for an end user to fully utilize all of the PubMed features and get those best results is to type your search terms into the search box and click search. And then look at those. If you want to dig deeper, go to the search history and details and look at the automatic term mapping. And if you need to know more, if you want to know more, that automatic term mapping webinar coming up next week will be really helpful, as well as there's a medical subject headings webinar that also dives into more detail about this. So we welcome you to join later if you have the time or register for the course and get the recording to really dig down into how this works. Okay. So let's go ahead and return to pubmed.gov. When we click on that PubMed icon to go back to that clean blue screen. Oh, I think we got one question come in though, and I'm going uh, to answer that now. Does adding quotes around the term prevent automatic mapping? Yes, it does. Adding quotes will turn off automatic term mapping. Okay. So congratulations, everyone. You have spent a full hour, over a full hour, learning about some of the features in PubMed. And I'd like to wrap up today by just exploring some of the things that are below the fold, if you will, on the PubMed homepage. Um, if you scroll down underneath the search box, you have a couple more features available. And I'd just like to touch upon them real fast. Learn has our frequently asked questions and the user guide to PubMed, which should answer many of the questions you might have. One of the things that you might be interested in looking into are different ways to search PubMed. We only touched upon a few, but just know that we do have detailed information on using wildcards and truncation, looking for phrases and combining terms. Also proximity searching, which is a relatively new feature. Using a specific formula, you can build a proximity search into PubMed. This debuted a couple of years ago. So that is new if you're coming back for a review. And so again, that is, yes, that's all under the frequently asked questions and user guide. Under Find, you have another link to the advanced search. Two other features here, clinical queries and single citation matcher. Clinical queries uses predefined filters to do searches on clinical or disease-specific topics. So this can be useful if you're looking for clinical information. The single citation matcher allows you to really build pieces of a citation that you might be looking for in a different way and pull up a citation. Under download, we have some information on several e-utilities APIs. These are 9 server-side programs that provide a stable interface to the Entree Query and Database Center system at the National Center for Biotechnology and Information. You can also download PubMed data in XML using this FTP link if you're interested in that. And if you're a PubMed power user, an interlibrary loan maven, batch citation matcher is a way for you to batch upload journal articles that you're looking for. Finally, we have 2 links under Explore to other NLM databases. The first is the Medical Subject Headings database. And then journals goes to a subset of the catalog of the National Library of Medicine, and that allows you to find journals currently indexed in Medline and also journals currently deposited in PubMed Central. So these are, so that's the journals database, and those are linked under Explore. Now, way down towards the bottom, we have trending articles and latest literature. Just like social media, trending, this section is highlighting articles that have a recent uptick in activity. It's not necessarily the newest, it's just things that people are interested in. And latest articles gives you new articles from some highly accessed journals. Finally, we're going all the way to the bottom here. I wanted to point out where you can get help for PubMed if you have a question or if you found something wrong. This help link on the bottom right of the very bottom footer menu will take you to help resources, including a link to Write to the Help Desk. This is a feature where you can communicate with a PubMed professional, describe your problem. You can upload a screenshot and get a support ticket going for very specific questions. And again, that's all located across any PubMed page. You just look for that help button to get back to a PubMed page, to the help button, and that will take you to Right to the Help Desk. You can also browse a variety of help topics about many of the National Library of Medicine databases. There's over 300 National Library of Medicine databases, so there's a lot of help topics out there. If you're interested specifically in PubMed, then literature is probably the best place to start. And finally, we do have some resources available if you teach PubMed. And there's a link to this on the handout. We have a page called the PubMed Trainers Toolkit. And these are resources built and vetted by experts at the National Library of Medicine, our PubMed project scientists, so you can be confident that you are giving your learners accurate information about how PubMed works. Things that we include here are pre-built PowerPoint slide decks that are free to use. We also have a wonderful new tips for using PubMed PDF document, or if you wanted to edit it to customize it for your institution, we have a document for you as well. If you're a Spanish speaker, we also have Spanish versions here. A lot of rich information on the PubMed Trainers Toolkit for those of you that might teach PubMed, so encourage you to check that out. So I'd just like to thank you all so much for joining us today on our exploration into how PubMed works, and thank you for your time.
Thanks for watching. This video was produced by the network of the National Library of Medicine. Select the circular channel icon to subscribe to our channel, or select a video thumbnail to watch another video from the channel.